What's up, everyone, and welcome into another episode of Goal Line Dynasty. Today, Tyler and I are going to be taking a look at some trades and giving you our thoughts on what we would personally do. And these aren't just small trades. These are your blue chip fantasy or dynasty assets, as you should say. We're going to be looking at trades for Pat Mahomes. We're going to be looking at trades for Jefferson, the 101, you name it. We're going to be going through some really high-level trades here. So, Tyler, I'm going to let you do your introduction and then just get us right into that first trade.
All right, so the first trade is Justin Jefferson or Garrett Wilson and the 109.
That's tough. No, it's not. I'm taking Jefferson. I was like, in my head, I'm like, oh, Wilson and a first. That's pretty cool. But no, that's not enough for me. Justin Jefferson is like high and above the wide receiver one in Dynasty. I mean, granted, like Jamar Chase is right there too as the wide receiver too. So put them two in the tier. I would still take Jefferson in a 1-for-1 over Chase, but I digress. Garrett Wilson is good, but we have not seen him be elite, and we've seen Justin Jefferson do it for years now, right? That's not going to change. It's never going to change. Jefferson is a very special player. We're essentially just getting Randy Moss all over again. I'm not giving that up. I'm not tearing down from Jefferson to Garrett Wilson just because of the 109. I'm not a fan of what I can get in most cases at the 109. So yeah, give me Jefferson in that.
So I think I'm in agreement. I think the 109 isn't enough. I mean, I don't think I would trade Garrett Wilson and the 106 for Justin Jefferson, but I think 109 is a little bit too cheap for me, and I can probably break him down another way. But this is another one that is actually pretty much identical, except they added Kenny Walker. Does Kenny Walker put you over the edge? Because I think it might for me.
Wait, so it's Kenny Walker, Garrett Wilson, and 109 for Jefferson?
Yep.
Okay, see, at that point, now it's tough because that feels like the type of return that you would expect for a guy like Justin Jefferson, right? You get a top 9 first-round pick. You get a top 8 dynasty wide receiver. Top 8, no matter who you ask, right? Like Garrett Wilson is firmly in the top 8 for most people. And then Kenny Walker, worst-case scenario, you probably have him, RB5 or RB6 if you're skeptical on his abilities. So top 5 running back, top 8 receiver, top 9 pick for Justin Jefferson. That I'm personally saying no to because I am a little skeptical on Kenny Walker, but it's really hard to say no to just based off of value alone.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like you could buy so much with like Garrett Wilson and that 109 and then Kenny Walker, if you wanted to break him down, he's in that tier of, top end running backs, the basically top 5 guys. I mean, I think it's Bijan at the top, and then I think a lot of people are kind of in the same boat, that Breece Hall, JT, Kenny Walker are kind of that next tier, really top 4, you could say. So yeah, I think that's pretty solid, and that's a really good return and hard to turn down. But the next one here is Justin Jefferson in the 102 or Joe Burrow and Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Oh, dude, come on now. Oh, man, that is really hard because to me, in a startup, I'm probably taking Joe Burrow at 104, and then I'm taking Jefferson at 105. So you said it's Jefferson and 102 or Burrow and Amon-Ra. That's that correct?
Yeah, so I mean, I think I'm actually taking Burrow at 3 and Jefferson probably 6 or 7. But yeah, then it's if that's even for you, then it's basically Amon-Ra or your pick at quarterback this year.
Yeah, because Jefferson and Burrow to me is basically a wash. I prefer Burrow ever so slightly. I'm not as high on Amon-Ra as a lot of people are. I think the 102 is a very good return for him, especially if you're quarterback needy. And if you're trading away Joe Burrow, you are quarterback needy. Man, that's tough. I think I take the Jefferson side, and I'll just take my risk at quarterback.
And I think I'm on the opposite end. I think I'm gonna lock in my quarterback and take a little downgrade at receiver. I think I'd rather have the security of Joe Burrow so much over the Bryce Young. And I think that gap is a lot bigger for me, or CJ Stroud or Anthony Richardson, whoever is the 102 for me after the draft. I think I'd rather take Joe Burrow over that so significantly that the Amon-Ra and Justin Jefferson difference is much smaller. So I think I'm going to lean the Joe Burrow and Amon-Ra side. All right, so I got two more for you, and then I got one that's going to segue into the next guy, actually. So I have Jefferson, or this one might make you squirm a little bit, I think, or CMC, Pittman, and JMO.
Dude, okay, that is gonna make me squirm. I'll let you give your take on this first, because I genuinely need to internalize my thoughts on this one.
I'm going Jefferson. I'm taking that one guy that everybody wants, and I think I would, maybe flip. I don't know if I really want to flip CMC. I mean, I think I'm actually, starting to think I might want to buy him for some of the prices that I'm seeing in a lot of spots. But then Pittman and JMO, like, I'm totally fine giving up to tier up to that one guy that everybody wants, So give me Jefferson on that side.
I think I'll take the McCaffrey side, and I have his jersey right there. I have his signed helmet right there. I haven't put anything away in this new house yet. But dude, McCaffrey, no matter who you ask, is still a top 3, maybe top 4 dynasty running back. He did not slow down in San Francisco. In fact, he sped up. He was phenomenal in 2022. I'm a really big believer in Jameson Williams. He was my receiver 1 of the rookie class last year. Granted, I wasn't taking him as the wide receiver 1 because we weren't going to have a whole year out of him, and Garrett Wilson and Drake London were there. But I am a really big Jameson Williams fan. I think he's going to have a good 2023. I think he is going to break out. And on top of that, I am a Michael Pittman fan. And Indianapolis is being heavy. They are heavy favorites to leave the NFL draft either with Anthony Richardson or with Lamar Jackson. So I think there's a lot of upside with him. I think there's a lot of upside with JMO. I'm getting at least 2 more seasons. In my mind, I'm getting at least 2 more seasons of really good production from Christian McCaffrey. I really don't want to sell Justin Jefferson, but I think this is the package where I would do it.
Yeah, a lot of upside to be had, and if you're a win now roster, I guess I can see it when you're getting CMC, who's probably going to put up just as many points as Justin Jefferson, and then Michael Pittman and Jameson Williams can also be starters for you. But still, I think I want that one guy. I'm good with the consolidation here, especially if I have, a decent roster behind it. But I think if you went the McCaffrey, Pittman, and JMO side, I think I know which way you're going to lean on this one. Jefferson and the 108 for the 101, London, and JMO.
Oh, I'm taking that side. Wait, so Jefferson and 108, and then 101 and those 2 sophomore receivers.
Yep.
Yeah. See, here's my thing. Is I'm really high on Bijan Robinson, and saying that's not a hot take because everyone's high on Bijan Robinson, right? Justin Jefferson, let's turn to like a 1 QB discussion, right? So if I was taking in a startup in 1 QB, Justin Jefferson would probably be my 101. Bijan Robinson is best case scenario my 102, worst case scenario my 103. In my mind, I don't have a very big difference between those 2. And that's probably a really optimistic way of looking at it, because Bijan Robinson really needs to hit his ceiling if he's going to return the same value as Justin Jefferson. But in my mind, they're not that far apart. What is far apart is trading the 108 for both JMO and Drake London. Like, that is more than enough to get me to bite on the package. I probably wouldn't even think twice about that one, as much as I would hate trading away Jefferson. If I'm getting Bijan Robinson and those 2 receivers, it's almost a no-brainer for me.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that one. Bijan and Jefferson are close enough to the point where the 108 for London and JMO definitely swings me to the package. And this one's going to send us right into our next guy, Justin Jefferson in the 105 or Jalen Hurts and Christian Watson.
I just see Jalen Hurts is one of the 3 players that I'm taking over Jefferson in a Superflex startup. But with that said, Jefferson's like my 104, 105. Jalen Hurts is my 103 or 104. So I don't like Christian Watson at all. I'm not a fan of Christian Watson in the slightest bit. So I'm gonna take Jefferson and the 105. You said it was.
Yep, 105.
Yeah,
So you can call that like, I mean, if we're talking about like the draft, I mean, it's either you're getting the 2 stud receivers, like you're getting your JSN or I mean Gibbs if you want, I guess. I think most people are going JSN over Gibbs in a lot of startups. So, I mean, you can look at that 105 as like it's probably going to be the 4th quarterback off the board. You know, I mean, you're looking at like Will Levis probably. So it's really Justin Jefferson for Christian Watson, Jalen Hurts. If you're looking at a receiver to receiver, quarterback to quarterback, that's probably what this trade is. Or I mean, maybe at best case, it's the 3rd quarterback off the board. You know, it's the last pick. You don't get your pick. It's picked for you. You don't really have many options at this 105. It's not a flexible pick.
What's the thing about the 105, right? Everyone assumes that that's probably JSN, but there's a lot of teams that aren't going to need a QB2 in that 102 to 104 spot. And JSN could very well sneak into somewhere between the 102 and 104 in a lot of Superflex rookie drafts out there, right? So, yeah, trading for the 105, you are guaranteeing yourself either JSN or probably your least favorite of the top 3 quarterbacks, right? Whether it's Stroud, Young, or Richardson, it's up to you. But that choice will be made for you. But yeah, I think Jefferson and Jalen Hurts are close enough in terms of overall value to where that's kind of a wash. And I'm trading Watson for the 105 all day, any day. So yeah, give me Jefferson side there.
Yeah, I think it's tough for me. I don't know if I even want to pick a side there, honestly, on that one. But so I guess I don't have strong convictions. If I had to pick, I guess I'd take the quarterback. In a similar value. I think Jalen Hurts is one of those quarterbacks I'm going over Justin Jefferson, like you said. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like it's just the security of a quarterback position in a super flex league. Like, if you're trading that away, you're probably having to take a quarterback at the 105. So you're putting a lot of risk only getting the 105 back instead of the 104, in my opinion. But yeah, because that pick's pretty much made for you. But flip a coin, Siri, right? Like, I guess give me the here.
Well, it's tough because like you know how I feel about Jalen Hurts. Like Jalen Hurts was my guy this time last year before he had his big breakout. I know a lot of people were saying that, but I was really big on Jalen Hurts, and it's hard turning down a package where he's involved. But it's just the additional piece on Jefferson so much better than the additional piece with Hurts there.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, I would probably be I'd probably be getting the shit under the stick, but I guess you have to do that when you're buying a quarterback. I mean, if you're selling Jalen Hurts, I feel like you have to be replacing him somehow. But anyways, we can move on from that one. This one is, I think I know exactly where I'm going. I think you know where I'm going to lean too, but it's Jalen Hurts or T-Law on the 108.
I know you're going to go with the T-Law side, right? Is that
fair? Yeah, fair to assume.
I'm going to agree with you on that. I love Jalen Hurts. I think he has more weekly upside than Trevor Lawrence. I think Jalen Hurts is more likely to single-handedly win you a game in fantasy football than Trevor Lawrence is. But with that being said, I think that those two will end 2023 with a very similar point total. If Hurts finishes ahead of Trevor Lawrence, it's going to be maybe 1 to 2 points per game, right? Like they're going to be pretty close in value, especially with Trevor Lawrence adding Calvin Ridley to that arsenal this year. Adding the 108 on top, even though I'm not a very big fan of that tier in drafts this year, 108 is still getting you Jordan Addison. It's still getting you Zach Charbonnet. It's still getting you, Michael Mayer, whoever you think your top tight end is. Could even get you Will Levis if you're a Will Levis fan. So I think the 108 is enough to close that gap for me. I'm taking the T-Law side.
Sorry, the dog's going crazy again. Always every video. But I'm going with T-Law on the pick. I think they're not that far off for me in terms of value. I'm going T-Law at like the 7th pick in this draft. I think that's the easiest pick in startups this year is getting T-Law in the middle of the first. The 7th, 8th pick when he falls there. I think I would much rather have T-Law over Justin Jefferson just in terms of I think he's more guaranteed to have a job in 5, 6, 7, 8 years. So I think he's probably a much better quarterback than Justin Fields. So give me T-Law on the pick.
I'm going to fill this part in. We lost Tyler for a little bit. But yeah, just kind of touching more base on what Tyler said with Trevor Lawrence being a better long-term option than Jalen Hurts. I completely agree with that personally. Jalen Hurts, he's one of those Konami code quarterbacks. There's always a time and a place to have a guy like that on your team. But chances are with how Jalen Hurts plays the game, you're going to have him until he's somewhere between 27 and 29 years old, which is perfectly fine. You're going to get elite level production for the next 4 or 5 years. But with Trevor Lawrence, he's only 23. He doesn't play a very bruising type of style of football. He's the guy that can turn into, playing until he's 35, 36, 37 years old. And still playing at that elite level. He was a generational prospect for a reason. Jalen Hurts, better for the next 4 years, I would say. Trevor Lawrence, a true dynasty quarterback. You're going to have him as your QB1 for the next 10 years. So good bet to make here.
Sorry about that. Yeah. But I'm definitely I love T-Law, and I think he's probably got a chance to score more points than Jalen Hurts next year as well. I'm not going to bet on that, but I think that the gap is close enough to just give me the extra pick. But this next one I actually think is pretty interesting and might be enough for me in a spot where I'm desperate and need a lot of help on my roster. Jalen Hurts or Dak Prescott in the 106.
Well, the way I see it, it's likely Dak Prescott and Jahmyr Gibbs. And I know things are going to change as a result of the NFL draft, but I think it's safe to assume at this point, unless somebody really falls in the NFL draft past where we think they will, Gibbs is firmly locked in as the 106. I don't know many people that are taking over JSN unless you really need a running back there. I don't know if Dak and Jahmyr Gibbs is enough to get me off of Jalen Hurts, though. Hurts is much younger. Dak Prescott is good, right? He's at worst case scenario like a top 10, top 12 quarterback. He doesn't offer the same sort of upside that Jalen Hurts does just because Dak's not really a rushing quarterback like that anymore. But, there's still a lot to like. I don't know. I don't want to call it a coin toss because I think at the end of the day, I am going with the Jalen Hurts side, but I'm not going to fault anyone for taking Dak and Gibbs over Hurts.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty decent process. Dak Prescott feels, he's probably, 6, 7 points a game, maybe behind Jalen Hurts. But if you're getting another starter that could be a stud running back in the league, then it might be worth it if you ask me. I think Dak Prescott's a buy low for me right now. We've seen him finish as QB3 in a season before. He's consistently top 10. So I think he's got the upside, and Dallas could upgrade at receiver in this draft as well. It's yet to be seen. We're gonna have a lot of answers soon. But I think I'm going to lead the package side there. But what if we add a Cooper Kupp into the package side? Is that pushing you over the hump?
Yeah. That's getting me there because chances are, any deal where you're trading for Cooper Kupp and you are knowingly accepting Cooper Kupp in a deal, that means you're going for it. And I would be if I'm a contender, and my options are Jalen Hurts for 2023 or Kupp, Prescott, and Gibbs, I'm going to take the Prescott Cup Gibbs side.
All right, so last one for Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith or Deshaun Watson, Amon-Ra St. Brown?
Give me Hurts and Smith. I like Hurts more than Watson, and I don't know if I like Smith more than I like St. Brown, but I have them in the same tier. I have Jalen Hurts. I don't want to say considerably above Watson. I think Watson is a hell of a buy low candidate right now because 2022 left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths. But Watson has always been a top 5 quarterback when he plays a full season, right? Like, look back at his days with Houston. He's always been top 5. He's being way undervalued right now. But with that being said, Hurts is the guaranteed thing between these two. And yeah, I'm taking the Hurts side. I like having the stack of him and Devonta Smith. I think Smith and Amon-Ra, have a very similar upside to each other, very similar floors. So give me the Eagle stack.
Yeah, I think it's a very valuable stack because Devonta Smith does go off some games. So I mean, the weekly upside there is just immense. And I think again, the tier down from Hurts to Watson isn't as far down as the tier up from Smith to Amon-Ra is for me, even though they are similar tier. I think I have Devonta Smith towards the bottom where Amon-Ra is more at the top of that tier for me. I'm still going Hurts far over Deshaun Watson a lot more than Devonta Smith. So I'm with you on that one as well. Our next guy here is going to be JT. So are you doing JT or the 104?
You got to take Jonathan Taylor there. You have to. 2022 was a bad year for Jonathan Taylor, and I've never been a massive fan of JT. Even before last year, I still had McCaffrey ranked ahead of JT. Granted, clear bias, right? It is what it is. I'm just a McCaffrey guy. But I think somebody selling JT for the 104 is just blatantly ignoring the value that you have, right? Like JT is at worst top five dynasty running back. He's definitely behind Bijan Robinson at this point. Depending on who you ask, he's behind Breece Hall, and depending on who you ask, he's behind Christian McCaffrey. He's still probably ahead of Kenny Walker for most people. He's definitely ahead of guys like Austin Eckler, Josh Jacobs, keep going down the list. JT is at worst like the RB4. And there is not a single player in this draft that you're getting at the 104 that's going to return the same kind of value that you're getting in JT. I mean, don't forget, dude, he's one season removed from being the number one overall, non-quarterback or non-Cooper Kupp guy, I should say. You throw out all the quarterbacks, you throw out Cooper Kupp. JT was the number one fantasy asset to own just a year and a half ago. And selling that for the 104, that doesn't sit right with me. So give me JT.
What if it's the 102? You get your pick at quarterback.
102, I could be convinced on. I'm still, just for value's sake, I think I'm still leaning JT in a vacuum, but it's a lot closer to a coin flip. And if I am quarterback needy, like if I don't have a QB2, or if my QB2 is, I don't know, Matt Stafford or Aaron Rodgers or one of the older guys that only has a year or two left in the league, then yeah, I'm probably hitting the reset button. I'm taking the rebuild piece of 102, taking my choice at quarterback. Like I said, it's really close. It's really, really close, man. But this time last year, if you told someone that you can guarantee giving them the 102 for Jonathan Taylor, not a single person would have taken that deal this time last year, right? I think people are being too reactionary to the 2022 season that we saw in JT. It was injury riddled. The Colts were just awful. I mean, they brought in Jeff Saturday as the interim coach, right? That was just a terrible decision. That entire team was just a dumpster fire this year, and it's going to be a new regime moving forward. I think that JT is going to rebound just fine. So more of a coin toss. lean JT, kind of 51% to 49% here. There's definitely scenarios where I am taking 102, but in a vacuum, give me JT.
Yeah, that's pretty much the buy sell line for me. I mean, and it depends on basically need at that point. So a couple more here. T-Law and JT, or Justin Fields, Breece Hall, and David Bell. David Bell, I guess, is pretty irrelevant here. So just T-Law and JT, or Justin Fields and Breece Hall.
I don't think that one's close. I think that's the Trevor Lawrence side by a lot. Do you disagree?
No, not necessarily. I mean, I think Jonathan Taylor and Breece Hall are similar enough. I would rather Breece Hall over JT a little bit. I think it would probably cost a second to make me tear down there at least, like an early second. But I mean, it's not really a tear down. It's just kind of my preference. But T-Law over Justin Fields by a lot. So I'm with you there. I don't know how much it is.
Yeah, dude. The difference between the running backs is minuscule. The difference between the quarterbacks is major. I mean, like I said, Trevor Lawrence is going to be a starting dynasty quarterback for you for the next 10 years. Justin Fields, if he busts in 2023 after the Bears got him DJ Moore, Justin Fields will not have a starting job in the NFL if he busts in 2023. Like, he got them. It's not entirely his fault, but like the Bears have the number 1 overall pick this year on paper for a reason. Like, it's not a good team. Justin Fields was not good when he needed to be. He's a really good fantasy quarterback. He's really good at running the ball. His passing stats, I mean, granted, he didn't have great receivers, but his passing stats were abysmal. And if Chicago doesn't have a successful year, Fields could be on his way out. And there's way too much risk associated with that. So I think there's a really big drop-off between T-Law and Justin Fields as well.
Yeah, definitely. This is a move that I'm looking to make almost all the time. You be in a similar tier at running back and upgrade at like a really important position like quarterback or receiver. So this one might be interesting. JT or Drake London and Brandon Aiyuk.
Let's say that one more time.
JT or Brandon Aiyuk and Drake London.
Oh, okay. That's pretty close for me, actually. And because I'm really high on Aiyuk, and Drake London, although his rookie year wasn't amazing, if you look at like the advanced analytics, I won't even pretend like I fully understand the advanced analytics, but all of those guys that are like, oh yeah, this threshold and that threshold and this threshold and that threshold. I mean, Drake London met the same thresholds that guys like Stephon Diggs did, guys like A.J. Brown did, guys like Justin Jefferson did, right? So I like Drake London to break out as a top 12 fantasy wide receiver this year. And I also like Brandon Aiyuk to, at worst, be like a top 18 guy. So you're giving me a wide receiver 1, and you're giving me, at worst, a mid-range wide receiver 2 for Jonathan Taylor. I think... Shoot, man, that's really tough. Where are you leaning on this one?
I think what we saw out of Drake London his rookie year, the fact that he accounted for like 30% of that team's target share and was literally top 5 in the league in target share as a rookie, and the fact that he was such a great prospect coming out, the fact that he competed and pretty much outproduced Amon-Ra St. Brown in the USC offense as well when he was younger. Michael Pittman was there as well. So I mean, he's been the guy. They're a quarterback upgrade away from him being just an incredible asset to own and put in your lineups every week. So I think I'm gonna take Drake London and that extra piece.
I think I'm leaning the wide receiver side too. I mean, if I have no other options at running back and I don't have anything that I'm going to successfully be able to put into those RB spots for myself, I'll probably hold on to JT, but I do think more value is in the wide receiver side. So this is definitely a case-by-case trade scenario for me, but straight up, I do lean those wide receivers, which is weird to say.
Yeah, I mean, I think especially in like if you're in like a start 11 league, start 12, that makes a huge difference here. Obviously, I think you're easily taking the 2 starters there, but yeah, I think that one's pretty easy. So now we're going to move on to the next guy, the 101 in Dynasty overall. I think pretty easily a lot of people would say that. Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes himself. I think, are you in agreement that he's the 101?
Yes. There is
Okay.
no question. There should be no argument for anyone else. It's Pat Mahomes. I love Josh Allen. I love Jefferson. I love Hurts. I love Burrow. None of them are as valuable as Pat Mahomes.
All right, so this first trade here is a barn burner. So Pat Mahomes, straight up, for Kirk Cousins, Devonta Smith, TJ Hockenson, the 102, and a 24 first. So I'll repeat that. Pat Mahomes for Kirk Cousins plus Devonta Smith, TJ Hockenson, the 102, and a 24 first.
Wow. Okay. That is definitely a lot. I feel like I'm writing that down because there's so many trade pieces there. I think from a pure value standpoint, there is more value. Oh, dude, I don't know. I was going to say there is more value to be had in the package side, but like Kirk Cousins is, how old is he? He's in like lower 30s. Let's see.
Yeah, like 32, 33, I think.
Kirk Cousins is 34 and a half. So Kirk Cousins is going to be 35 by the time we start the NFL season in 2023. We're getting maximum 3 more years out of Kirk Cousins. The 102, in my mind, is whoever the Carolina Panthers take at 101. I'm not going to pretend like I know more than NFL scouts. And I mean, if Anthony Richardson ends up, going number 3 overall, the Colts grab him, or maybe if Atlanta does, then I'm, kind of considering Anthony Richardson just because of that like Konami code, dynasty quarterback kind of deal. But chances are 102 for me is either Bryce Young or CJ Stroud. I love TJ Hockenson. I love Devonta Smith. I love the idea of getting a 2024 first round pick. Shoot, man, I think this package is enough. I think this is enough for me to deal Pat Mahomes. I'm getting 2 quarterbacks out of the deal. I'm getting an additional first-round pick. I'm getting a top 4 tight end, and I'm getting a top 10 wide receiver. I think that's just about everything you could ask for in trading away Pat Mahomes. So it's tough to pull the trigger, but I will take the package side.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that the package is probably the process deal. I mean, it's 5 first-round picks worth of value, really. I mean, if you're getting a replacement at quarterback for a year or two, I mean, Kirk Cousins is still going to be, quarterback 10 next year, and probably the year after that. But we'll see what happens there. And then if you go to that 102, the fact that you get the shot at whoever the 101 or the number 1 overall pick in the draft is, taking that, plus that package and the extra first on top of it in 2024, that's 5 first-round picks of value. You say you can't sell them for less than 4. I mean, you're getting the one on top. So, and I didn't even mention Devonta Smith in that breath either. So that's so much to be had there, and I think it's what you have to send to get him.
Yeah, you got to overpay to get Pat Mahomes. But just kind of touching base on that 102 real quick. This year, how rare is it that the 101 in a Superflex rookie draft is not a quarterback, right? Like, it doesn't happen very often. You can almost never get your top pick of quarterback in a rookie draft at the 102. So I will say the 102, in my opinion, does hold more value. They should, because you're still getting your choice at quarterback. So this is a good package for Pat Mahomes. I mean, you got to have a lot of balls to send away this package to get Pat Mahomes. So kudos to these guys. I think it's a really good trade, and this is the type of deal that you have to send to get it done for Mahomes.
All right, definitely. So next one here we have Pat Mahomes or T-Law and Jalen Waddle.
I'll take Pat Mahomes in this scenario. I love Trevor Lawrence, as we've said. Jalen Waddle, Jalen Waddle is a bit overrated in my book. I definitely wouldn't put him outside of my wide receiver ones in Dynasty, but I don't think he deserves to be in that, wide receiver 5, 6, 7 range where a lot of people put him. He's got really good weeks, he's got really down weeks, but at the end of the day, he's sharing the field with Tyreek Hill. And if you're down on guys who are the wide receiver 2 in their own offenses, you should be down on Jalen Waddle, right? You never really know what you're going to get out of him. He could put up 35 points. He could put up 8. He's not really a safe wide receiver prospect to go with. And it's enticing to use that as the gap closer between Trevor Lawrence and Pat Mahomes. And there is a possibility that we could see yearly success from Trevor Lawrence in a similar fashion to Pat Mahomes and as far as fantasy goes. But yeah, I'm going to take the guy that's been doing it for years and not take any sorts of risk. That's not enough to get Pat Mahomes off my team.
Agreed. It doesn't close the gap for me. So here, I feel like we probably should have just had, T-Law as a guy in this video because it seems like he's the tier down quarterback in a lot of these cases. But this one's Pat Mahomes or T-Law, the 101 and the 201.
T-Law and the 101?
And the 201.
I don't need the 201. I'll just take the 101 and T-Law. Dude, this is fantastic value. Bijan Robinson is more than enough to get me to close the gap between T-Law and Pat Mahomes. I'll take the risk associated with T-Law that I don't have with Pat Mahomes. This is the 201 is just icing on the cake. I know I'm saying this like this is like such an easy decision. It's never an easy decision to trade away Pat Mahomes. But if Bijan Robinson can live up to the hype, and I really think he will, he is like, by all means, by all metrics, all the hype, everything seems to be warranted when it comes to Bijan Robinson. That's going to close the gap, right? Jalen Waddle's not closing the gap from T-Law to Pat Mahomes, but Robinson and the 201 definitely is doing it for me.
Yeah, Bijan could literally be the guy who is like, a 27 point per game guy at some point, for the next 3 to 4 years at least. That's how good of a prospect he is. I'm not going to get too much into him because we're going to talk about him in a few minutes. But what if we downgraded it to the 101 and Tua?
No, I can't. I like Robinson, but Tua's in a similar situation as Justin Fields is, right? Like, they give him all these tools to succeed. Not that he had a bad 2022, but I think he fell short of expectations, that plus injury concerns. That's not a quarterback that I'm willing to tear down from Pat Mahomes with. You would need to add kind of a lot more into the package to get me comfy from making my QB1 go from Pat Mahomes to Tua.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Tua still does have potential to be like, the top 5, top 8 quarterback that, T-Law is as well, just because of how many weapons are around him and that offense is run like a Madden team. But we're going to get into the last one for Pat Mahomes here. So it's Pat Mahomes and DK Metcalf or Justin Herbet, Devonta Smith, and the 107.
Mahomes, easy. I would take Mahomes over. The 107 definitely puts a wrench in it, but like I'm taking Mahomes over. Who was the quarterback? Was it T-Law?
Herbet.
Okay. Herbert and Smith does not equal Pat Mahomes in my book. I don't dislike Justin Herbert, but I'm not as big on him as a lot of people are. Herbert plus Smith does not equal Mahomes. 107 does not equal DK Metcalf. I'm taking the Mahomes and Metcalf side with zero hesitation.
Yeah, I was going to look at Devonta Smith and DK Metcalf close enough to kind of scratch off because there is an early 3rd round pick on that Mahomes side that I didn't mention. But yeah, I don't think either the 107 or the Devonta Smith closes the gap between Justin Herbert and Pat Mahomes, even though I think Justin Herbert's down year this year was, QB 11 and, his upside is top 3. I don't think that extra first is enough to get me there right now when I know what Pat Mahomes is. I could probably find a different deal for him.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't have to worry about Pat Mahomes finishing as the QB 11, right? Like he's locked and loaded as a top 5 guy bearing injury. So.
All right, so now we're going to move into our last guy, Bijan Robinson, or the 101. So the first one I see here that's pretty interesting is 101 or Chris Olave in the 24th first.
I'm taking the 101 there. Unless I really have high conviction that the 24 first is going to be top 6, I wouldn't really think twice. I mean, I said it in our last video. Olave is personally a sell high guy for me. And if I can add a future first on top of him to get me Bijan Robinson, I'm going to do that like 99 out of 100 times.
All right, what if it's Garrett Wilson in the 109?
For 101, I'm still taking 101. 109, dude, like maybe it's like my own mental block here, but anything after the 106 is just really not doing it for me this year. I think that the 107 to like the 204 or 205 is like one giant tier in this 2023 draft. Like, granted, do I want my guys at 107 versus my guys at 204? Absolutely. But there's the Bijan Robinson tier, there's the quarterback tier, there's JSN and Gibbs, and then there's everyone else. And the everyone else on top of Garrett Wilson, it doesn't get me there. Like I'm not going to trade away the prospect of a generational player like Robinson for that package.
I think I'm going to do it. I think I like Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave enough that I'm going to take, especially the Chris Olave in the 24th first, if that has any chance of being early. I mean, you're going to walk away with another receiver that was still drafted in the first round of the NFL draft this year. So I think I'm going to go with both package deals over Bijan. Actually, I think those are, two of the maybe 5 or 6 guys outside of the quarterbacks that I'm even considering looking for in a package for the 101. But yeah, I think it's probably enough for me.
The reason why I'm so high on Bijan Robinson, and I know everyone's high on him, right? But I think I'm higher than the average person is, my stance on the workhorse role in the NFL and how I think that the true workhorse role is a dying role in the NFL. I think fast forward 10 to 15 years from now, there might not be a single player in the NFL that has a true workhorse role. Robinson is one of the few guys in the entire league, and he's not even in the league yet. He's one of the few guys that I can guarantee will have a workhorse role in 2023, despite wherever he lands, right? Like, and that to me is just such a big advantage. It's really hard for me to get rid of the 101 right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave are probably like the 7th, 8th non-quarterbacks off the board, maybe even higher than that for me. Garrett Wilson might even be up at like 5. I mean, the guy saw 150 targets as a freaking rookie, which is crazy in a terrible offense. But we'll move on to the next one. This one is for some tangible assets. 101 or CeeDee and Hockenson. I'm going CeeDee and Hockenson here all day.
Wow, that's a big trade. 101 straight up for like the overall wide receiver 3 and the overall TE 4 at worst. Yeah, I'll take the CeeDee Lamb side. I am hesitant to do it if I'm needy at the running back position, but CeeDee Lamb at the very least is going to have the same shelf life moving forward as Robinson, and TJ Hockenson is probably going to have a similar shelf life to those guys. I think Robinson is going to be a better points per game player than CeeDee Lamb, but it's not going to be by more than 2 or 3 points, maybe 4 points at the best. And then TJ Hockenson, when he landed in Minnesota in 2022, I mean, he was a man possessed. The only tight end that was better than him since he landed with Minnesota was Travis Kelce. So yeah, that's a hard deal to say no to. I want Robinson in as many places as I can, but CeeDee Lamb and TJ Hockenson, that's enough. That's enough to get me there.
Yeah, I'm always going to be able to trade a receiver for more than a running back, especially when they're in a similar tier. And give me the free TJ Hockenson. He's so elite. But last one here, and it's two guys that I really like, and weren't as high on coming into the season. But 101 for Devonta Smith and Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Oh man, that's tough for me. In my opinion, they're both like tier 3 wide receivers, right? If Jefferson and Chase are our tier 1s, then we have AJ Brown, CeeDee Lamb. Maybe you can throw someone else in that tier 2. So it's, do I want 2 tier 3 wide receivers? Probably in my ranking somewhere between wide receiver 8 and wide receiver 12, respectively, for my overall 103 and 1 QBs. That's tough, man. That's really, really tough. I'm gonna take the Robinson side. I know you're gonna disagree with me on that, but I'm gonna take the Robinson side just because I'm a big AJ Brown fan and I'm a big Jameson Williams fan. And I think both of those guys severely cap the overall upside to be anything more than a top 10 wide receiver for both Amon-Ra and Devonta Smith. So give me the elite option in Robinson, and I'll give you Amon-Ra and Devonta Smith in that deal.
I think I can trade Amon-Ra and Devonta Smith each for 2 first-round picks apiece, probably 2 mid-first. And anytime you can find 4 first-round picks of value for a running back, I think you have to take it. So I'm going to lean that way. But I know you got to get going, so I'm going to let you close us out the way you always do so beautifully.
Yeah, unfortunately, got to cut it. Well, I guess we're not really cutting it too short, but Friday after work, we got some plans to do for sure. So, but yeah, thanks for tuning in on our trade show here today. I know we typically kind of stick more specifically to a certain tier of running backs or a certain tier of wide receivers, but we haven't had a chance to really go through these top 5 or 6 options in Dynasty startups. So I'm really glad that we got to highlight, some Pat Mahomes trades. We've never done that before. Some 101, some Jalen Hurts. Really got to talk about a lot of those blue chip Dynasty players in these trades. And honestly, I had a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, they're always a lot of fun to talk about, because they're so difficult to trade for and everybody wants to. And there's a lot of teams that need to, sell them off for packages. So hopefully we can give some perspective out there. And, I'll let you give our sign off.
Yeah, got to have some real cojones to make these trades, but kudos to everyone that has. So if you are one of these people making these trades, I bow down to you. Well done. And if you're one of these people who will be making these trades, Godspeed, good luck. We will see you next time.